Welcome everybody to this Family Law Software Power webinar series. Today is the first in our series. We're going to try and keep this to 30 minutes. And in each webinar, we will cover a different topic so that by the end of it, you will be a power user of Family Law Software. Okay, I am going to share my screen. So this is the desktop version. We are going to mostly today talk about the cloud version, and they are different, but they are basically the same. We'll go into that in a minute. So let's start at the beginning. Family Law Software allows you to do all the financial analysis and calculations for your cases in one program without redundant data entry. You enter data once, and then you can use it for multiple purposes. We do child support in 22 states. We will not be going over state-specific support guidelines. We're going to have those scheduled shortly, and we will have one for each state that we do. Now, alimony, spousal support, spousal maintenance, alimony, all the same thing, just called different things in different states. We're going to do a focused webinar on that February 28th. The program does guidelines in the 6 alimony guideline states, and those state-specific guideline trainings will be scheduled soon, as I said. And we have multiple analysis tools for non-guideline alimony. And that's what the webinar on February 28th will focus on. The program also does property division. We do side-by-side scenarios after tax analysis. There's going to be a property division focused webinar on February 14th. And the program does financial affidavit completion in 12 states. So whether your state required form is called a financial affidavit, declaration, CIS, or other terminology, FLS uses the data that's entered to autofill the financial forms needed for your state. And in other states, we do have a variety of court forms. And when we do the state-specific webinars, we'll go through those. The program, Family Law Software, also does present values. 2 specifically that we do, the defined benefit pension. And there's going to be a pension-focused webinar on March 7th. And we do alimony present value for an alimony buyout. And that'll be part of our February 28th webinar. We also can do support arrears. We'll be focusing on that in the February 21st webinar. And there are analysis and negotiation tools in the software, and we will go over all of those as we go through each section of the program. That also includes data assumptions and projections, which will be part of our last focused power webinar on March 14th. So now let's talk about the basic structure of the program. The program itself is structured, as I said, to enter data once and then use it for multiple purposes. So all information goes into the enter data section. In the desktop version, it would be the enter data tab. In the cloud version, we're looking at the enter data page of the website. And this enter data page then has multiple sections. This also has our reports, the printed final reports, which you can print or PDF for child support, maintenance, and the court forms, the affidavit and the court forms. I am showing you the Illinois version of the program right now. To change the state, you would just go into settings and change state of filing, and then you can select which other state you might want to use. I'm going to use Illinois for this training only because I am more familiar with it, being an Illinois practitioner. So in enter data, as you start going through the pages, there's support maintenance data, parties and children, income and expense, and assets and liabilities. And as you go through each page, you will see that there are sections that you open, expand, and collapse by clicking on the little pointer arrows. And then you will see as you open it that there are yellow shaded fields. Yellow shaded fields are the data entry fields. If you see a blue shaded field, as you will see here in the support worksheet, those are calculated fields. That means that the data is coming from somewhere else in the program. I can overwrite a calculated field. So let's say I want to say Taylor's income is only $1,800 a month, not $2,300 a month. If I change it, it will turn red, and that indicates that it's overridden. On the desktop program, you will be asked if you want to override on the first time you do it. That overridden amount, I can go back to the original calculated field by simply deleting what I overwrote, and the original data remains. So if you really want to change the data, you don't want to do it in a blue field. You want to do it in the yellow, appropriate yellow shaded field, which would be on one of the 4 data entry pages. So now let's think about what order you would use those 4 pages. And the cool thing about this program is that you can enter data in any order. Anywhere it's using the data, it's going to take what is entered. And if there's nothing entered, it just won't use that data, that's field. If I'm only doing a support and maintenance calculation, I don't care about property or the rest of the information that I'm able to do with the program. I can start with support and maintenance data. Now, on support and maintenance data in many states, you will see a quick page and a complete page. The quick page is for the simple case. It has only a wage earner or 2 wage earners, not multiple jobs, not income from other sources, but simply the kids, the filing status, the wages, and then sometimes health insurance and maintenance, depending on whether that's part of your state's calculation or not. I don't use the quick page very often. I use the complete page. This would then have all the pieces for the support calculation in one page and each section. So here we have, for example, income from investments. And if I open that section, I have this little table that I can put in interest income, dividend income, capital gains, rental income, and just put that in. But if I do it there, it's not going to be connected to the asset. I only use this section at the beginning of a case when all I might have is the first 2 pages of a tax return and I don't have any other detail. But you will see down here that the data I already put in under assets and liabilities, a Bank of America account, an S&P 500 account, which has some income. Let's make this a little bigger account and make the income a little bigger, is going to be already entered here because I entered it as an asset or liability. Or I can enter it here and then it will show up as an asset liability. So as I do these, if later I change who gets this asset, the income that's connected to it will automatically move over to the other party. So if I change this from Taylor or Blake to Taylor, and you can see here the support amount is a running total at the top, $1,481 per month. But now let's change this to be Taylor's income, and it's not really enough. If I made it a bigger amount, it would change the support amount. Okay, so that being said, sure, we'll say it's a $9,000 payment. that can change the support amount, and I can change who gets it, and it'll move the income over so that it is now going to the other party. Okay. And that is always an option in the cases. So I like to do that. When I'm entering data myself, I like to start with assets and liabilities because of the cash flow items that go along with the assets and liabilities. If I'm just doing support, then maybe I don't need that if there's not income from assets coming into play. Now, the nice thing is if you enter data once, it appears everywhere. So I entered that asset in support maintenance data. I changed the amount of that account. And if I go in here to checking account, here's the S&P 500, and you can see that it's got the $87,000 of value and the $9,000 of income already there, because we only have to enter data once for that field. Okay, now when you're getting started, we have, are showing you the cloud version. We have a cloud version, and we also have a individual cloud, a cloud firm, and a cloud basic. So the basic version only does the support calculations and the financial affidavit. It doesn't do any of the other aspects. The full version is the cloud individual that has all of the tools that are in the program, and we'll look at them in a bit. And then there's the cloud firm version. The nice thing about the cloud firm version is that it allows multiple logins at the same time, simultaneous logins. So I can be working on the Smith file, my paralegal can be working on the Jones file, my associate can be working on the another name, whatever, the Martin file. And then the main issue is which one do you want? So think about how you use the program. We recommend, if you have multiple users in your firm, that you use the firm cloud version, because that way there's not the back and forth. Now, what you can do if you have the individual, maybe it's just you and one support staff, you can use the desktop version. And what you would do then is go down to the files, and you could download from the cloud version. So you have the firm cloud or the individual cloud version. The individual cloud, you can download, work on it on your desktop, and then upload it back. And that is the kind of clunky sneaker net way if you don't want to spring for the extra $10 a month for the firm cloud version, and totally understand that sometimes that may seem like overkill, but it's great. It really works beautifully. All right, so let's go back to the cloud version. And now we're going to remember that when I'm going to log out. My mouse back. I'm going to log out. When I log back in, I have this set to not have a current case file loaded. So to load a case, I have to go to File Manager. And now here's all of my cases. I can look at the firm files if I want to work on somebody else's case. Shared files right now is the client data entry files, and we'll talk about that shortly. If I go to my file, I'm going to open the case here, and I can also download for later use on the desktop the file to my desktop. Remember, though, that the files are being stored in the cloud in our web server. So you want to upload them back so they'll be there the next time, and you won't have to try and figure out where that file is. It'll always be there. Okay. Now, when you log in on the cloud version, you just need your user name and email. In the cloud, in the desktop version, you will also need a key code. And you can look up your key code here under key code account. And if you need to get your key code, there's a dialog box here that you can get your key code. And we can look it up for you. Our system will look it up for you. But in the cloud version, we're going to not have to worry about key codes. It's just username and password. And then in File Manager, you can always use the gear setting to set that the last file that you worked on will automatically load on startup. Sometimes that's useful. And depending on your use of it, you may want to start fresh every time because you're always working on a different file. It's up to you. Okay. So the other thing that makes the cloud version more useful is that the desktop version will require updates periodically as we update the program. The cloud version will always be up to date. You never have to worry about downloading an update. Okay, I'm going to stop for a moment and see what the questions are. So someone said, quick case at the top of the page opens a new file and then lets you just start entering data into it. It is helpful. Judges like to use it sometimes so they don't have to keep going to file open. And I think I just told you how to change settings so a case doesn't automatically load. If you are accessing the program from your desktop, from a desktop icon, that is the desktop version, and it looks like this with tabs on the top. If you are using the cloud version, you're accessing it through a browser. I am using Chrome as my browser, and that is what is there. So in terms of the specific cloud version, you will know because you won't have analysis tools in the cloud version if you have basic. Okay. I'm going to let Anna answer the next couple of questions, and I'm going to keep going. Okay, so the differences in the programs is basically the menus are down the side in the cloud, and there are tabs on the top in the desktop version, which lead you to menus down the side. So in the cloud version, we're only looking at the menus and the sections down the side. So these were our tabs, enter data analysis reports, and we divided files and settings into file manager and settings. Other than that, substantively, the programs are exactly the same. There is no difference in functionality substantively between the two versions. Files in the cloud are saved on our AWS server, which is US-based and redundant to avoid loss of data. Files in the desktop version are saved wherever you set as your default folder. In the cloud, we have File Manager, which is the biggest program difference, and we will be talking about in our session, webinar session on February 7th. In the cloud, in the desktop version, you can print to Excel. In the cloud version, we are exporting to a CSV file, which then you can link to your Excel, and it'll open it as an Excel file. Okay, it does not import the formulas. It only exports the numbers as number values. And printing to PDF remains the same in both programs. You can do it here in the cloud version. You're going to print to PDF by clicking on the PDF icon at the top of the right side of the page. And then when you PDF, then it'll open up. You can PDF any program in the page, and it'll create a printout, which you can then save as you will to your file system. Okay. Now, if you're trying to just print, you can use your browser print function and be able to print from your browser. And every browser has it in a different place. This is Chrome. Okay. Now, if you are using cloud and desktop together, just remember that cloud saves the files on our AWS server. The desktop version will save wherever there's your setup, your default folder. It's good to use when there's a need to work where there's no internet or spotty internet, or if you are using individual cloud version and somebody else wants to be in the program. So either the staff will always download and upload, or you will always download and upload so the staff can work in the cloud. And then let's look at the settings in the program. So settings in the cloud version are going to be a separate section. We have assumptions and configuration, same as in the desktop. We also have moved paper data sheets. So if you are not having the client fill out the information themselves in the digital version, you can give them data sheets that they can fill out, and then your staff can enter the data in the program easily because it's in the same format, same order as our program. Change of state of filing we talked about, and a sample file. So if you want to play around with family law software as you're learning it, we do include a sample file that you can play with, or you can just open a new file yourself. All right, let's look first at configuration. And then the professional information, you would fill in your own information. You set your report options, and then that will be how it will work going forward. You can put in court information, and sometimes I like to use professional disclaimers on my reports. I have one in my law firm version of this program that says, this is not tax advice, consult your tax professionals for specific information on your matter. So it's just a disclosure, and there's even more room for disclosures here in the full disclaimer. So you can do long or short disclosures. Now, the assumptions we're going to cover in the focused webinar, in the Power webinar on March 14th. But I just want to show you a couple here, which is the start year. As of right now, all your new files will be 2023. That's what year's taxes are going to be used. If you open a file you opened last year, yes, it was last year already, then it will automatically ask you the first time you open it in 2023 if you want to change the start year, or you can just go in and change the start year if you choose. And then the number of years for cash and net worth projections. I have this set for 3. You can go out up to 50 years. And you'll see that on some of the reports that we may look at if we have time. Okay, so that's the settings of this program. And as of right now, whoops, come on. We have 5 more minutes. Let me get to some of the questions. We talked about quick case. Oh, wow, we had a lot of questions that I guess Anna answered. If you still have a question, put it back in the chat. If we didn't answer it already.
Nancy, if you don't mind,
Yes,
hey, this is Anna. I've been answering the question as feverishly as possible. If you could just do a quick show the users how you get into the cloud, like log out, show them the email and
sure.
password. So users, what Nancy is about to show you is this is how you get into the cloud. You use an email and a password by using your web browser and going to pro.flsgo.com. This is for cloud users. If you are a cloud user, this is how you get in. So this is
So
like the very basic.
right. We're at the website pro.flsgo.com, and I'm on the login page, and I have my user, my email, and then my password. And if you forgot your password, you can always click forgot password, and that will reset it. There's no way for us to locate your password. We would have to reset it. It would have to be reset. So, and then you would just log in. And it's very
Perfect.
simple.
Thank you,
And I
Nancy.
have it set to not load the file. If I wanted to have the last file loaded, I would change the settings in File Manager on this little gear icon and say, yes, I want to start files at last login. And I click this. Now I'm going to open the sample file. Okay. And now I'm going to log off again. And I'm going to log in again. And instead of no file being loaded, I'm already in the last page, last file that I was in.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nancy. Nancy, now if you could just one more time open up the desktop version so that now the desktop users can see the desktop version and what it looks like when they first open.
Right.
Perfect.
So
And then if you could
when I open the file, I'm clicking on the icon on my desktop, and this is what opens.
Perfect. Thank you, Nancy. And if you could just sum it up in a minute, why users should be using the desktop versus the cloud. We had a lot of questions on that. So this is now the desktop version that Nancy is showing. And then Nancy, if you could please round us out and I will finish the questions. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Excuse me. I do have a little frog in my throat. Okay. So the advantage of the desktop is that you're not internet dependent. Other than that, no advantage to the desktop as far as I'm concerned, unless you are concerned about one of two things. One, a lot of financial planners, courts, etc., want to use the desktop because they're nervous about cloud use. And many of our colleagues, attorneys and planners, are also nervous about that. You don't need to be, but if you are, then you would be using the desktop. And if you are a Smokeball user, then you would need to use the desktop to have the Smokeball integration function. But our cloud version has everything that the desktop has, plus this is where the development dollars are going. So we are encouraging everybody to move to the cloud. You still get the desktop for free if you choose to work that way. Okay, so we are at 30 minutes, and I think we have a bunch of questions still. Clio integration, we're hoping that that is coming along with a cloud integration for all of the practice management software, including Smokeball, so that we will not be forced to use the desktop anymore. And to download a file from the cloud on your laptop, you would go to the file manager, and you would go to the actions under next to the file name, and you can download the file there, as well as from the desktop version. you can download a file from your cloud version. Okay. So you can go down and then up, or up and then down as you choose. Yeah, my case, Clio, all the rest of those are going to be coming, hopefully. Smokewell is a practice management software program that many people use. Okay, that's our webinar for today. Thank you so much. Anna, I think the pricing difference in the cloud is the basic cloud version is $59.95 per month per user. And the desktop the firm cloud version is $69.95 per month per user. And that's all on our pricing page on our website. You'll find that all here. Okay.
Nancy, sorry, if you could quickly let users know how to get help, because we've got a couple questions that I don't think I'll be able to get to. If you could let them know how to get help or reach out to us.
Sure. So if you are in the program, you can go down to support, and in the support section, there is let me go back here. Support, there is a contact us that goes to a Zendesk page that we try and get to within 2 to 4 hours. And that if it's a question that our support people can't answer, they will send it to Anna or I, and we'll get back to you very promptly. And of course, people can always reach out to us directly. I am at nancy.schaefer@familylawsoftware.com, and Anna is at anna.tate@familylawsoftware.com. Thank you very much.